Are you a home grower looking for a little bit of help? Are you ready to learn as much as you can about your favorite hobby? The Homegrown Helpers brings you informative interviews from experienced growers that have taken the next steps in their journey and decided to help you grow top quality cannabis all in your home. Now welcome in our host, Rob Smith, along with this week's Homegrown Helper. And welcome to the show, everyone. Are you ready for this week's grow tips and tricks from another Homegrown Helper? Yes, me too. Who do we have on the show this week to bring you relevant and timely grow advice and guidance? Well, we have Robert Stewart from the Weed Squad in St. Louis, Missouri. He is on the line and ready to help you become a better cultivator of cannabis. Robert has a ton of experience to bring you from the legacy market and stories to share as he's transitioned into the legal market, starting his own home grow consultation business. Not only do I think you'll like this episode, but I think you'd really dig the bonus content that we get into after we stop recording this regular episode. You can find all of that bonus content from Robert and all of our previous guests at thehomegrownhelpers.com/bonus. All you have to do is hand over your email address so that we can send you this stuff directly to your inbox afterwards, and you gain access to all of the bonus content episodes right there. You heard last week, the bonus content I posted from Maria Swanson's interview, which I accidentally had published over the regular episode through our podcast publishing app, Libsyn. So if you like that, then you really should dig into all of the rest of the bonus content. I know we had a loyal listener reach out and let me know just a couple of days after that was posted that it seemed like the bonus content was posted in place of the regular interview. So I appreciate you reaching out and letting me know. To give you a couple quick updates here, we just launched an international-friendly, content-only subscription package over at mygrowpass.com. So we do a lot of work with vendor partners and give you discounts and giveaways available in both of our veg and bloom package levels. But we had a lot of people that listen to both Growcast and the Homegrown Helpers that cannot take advantage of those because most of our vendors do not ship internationally, at least cheaply. So, we built this subscription package to meet those international customers and also for the people that, might not want to buy any of the products that we have to offer, but do love the archived Growcast content, the access to the Ask Us Anythings that we do on the first Saturday of every month, the resource section that is just blowing up right now, and of course the commercial-free podcast from the Growcast regulars like Wolfman, Riser Rich, Dr. Coco, and so many more. So the content-only subscription package runs for $14.95 a month. It gives you access to all of that stuff that you can just log in, download, and increase your growing knowledge day after day after day. And we are still rocking our Instagram contest. We're only about 150 followers away from our goal of 3,333 followers. So hit up Growcast at Growcast on Instagram and find the first Larry Bird post and play along to help us grow. You could win a free month, 3 free months of Bloom membership on us. So I guess the last ask that I have of you is, while we still have a month or so more of content, if you have any consultants in your life, anybody that is helping other people learn how to grow, holding grow classes, anything like that, reach out to us. We want to talk to them and see if they'd be a good fit for the show. My email is rob@thehomegrownhelpers.com. rob@thehomegrownhelpers.com. We need your consultants. The last thing is, before we get into the interview, we also have to thank Gorilla Grow Tent and the amazing Dr. Zymes. Gorilla Grow Tent offers our listeners free shipping when they use the code GROWCAST at gorillagrowtent.com, and our members save 10% along with that free shipping offer when you access the code through your member portal. The amazing Dr. Zymes, which is the preferred IPM solution of Growcast and the Homegrown Helpers here, they offer you 10% off whenever you use the code GROWCAST10 at checkout at theamazingdrzymes.com, and members get 25% off of that IPM solution and their multipurpose cleaner. So join mygrowpass.com for as little as $14.95 a month to gain access to those discount codes. And one last thing we like to give away to our audience. Go to growcastpodcast.com/Zymes and you can get a couple of free samples of the amazing Dr. Zymes. And you can find out how awesome that product is before deciding that you are going to use it. So let's welcome to the show Robert Stewart from the Weed Squad. All right, I'm here with Robert from the Weed Squad. Robert, why don't you start us off with an easy one? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how long you've been growing cannabis for.
Right on. Hey, Rob, how you doing? Robert Stewart. My company's name is the Weed Squad. We're located here in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been cultivating cannabis for approximately a little over 12 years now. Reason I got into the consulting end of it is I kind of recognized when we started talking about legalizing or going to medical here in St. Louis or Missouri, that there was a gap basically where people were going to need some knowledge, especially since we were like putting it right into the amendment that patients were going to be allowed to have 6 flowering plants. That kind of let me, kind of gave me an indication that people were going to need help with that. So that's what started the business here. And so we're here and, available and ready to help people get started growing cannabis in the state of Missouri.
I truly admire people like you, Robert, that have taken their quote unquote black market or their legacy experience and tried to turn it into something educational and something meaningful for the larger audience as we, shift to medical or recreationally legal in the varying states. So kudos to you to coming out of the cannabis closet, so to speak, and taking that knowledge that you've learned and putting it out there. So thank you for doing that for the new patients there in Missouri.
Absolutely. Yeah, it seemed like the right thing to do. And fortunately here in Missouri, and I think they've done this in every state where they just turn a blind eye, so to speak, as far as like, okay, now we're out. Let's not worry about what happens then, letting everybody kind of move forward from here, So as soon as it was available, I've got my license and immediately became legal.
Awesome. So can you give us a quick rundown of Missouri state medical cannabis laws? And, are there dispensaries? Obviously, you're allowed to grow for yourself. How many plants? Are there caregivers? Can you grow for somebody else? What's the story there in Missouri?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're allowed to have 6 flowering plants. That was in the amendment. Now it is in our Constitution that, as a Missouri medical marijuana patient, it's our constitutional right to have 6 flowering plants. When they handed it over to the DHSS, Department of Human Senior Services, they put some rules on it, and we were hoping they were not going to do any restrictions as far as your vegetative plants. But they did. They threw on. So basically it's a 6-6-6 rule. You're allowed to have 6 flowering plants, 6 vegetative plants, and 6 clones, and they're calling anything under 14 inches a clone. So even though it's a rooted plant, they're still calling it a clone.
Are there dispensaries? Can you grow for somebody else?
No, not yet. The licenses, the commercial licenses, are still up. All the applications are in, but they have not awarded any licenses yet so far. So Missouri hasn't started growing, and just like any other state, most every other state, but not allowed to import anything. So no, there's no dispensaries open yet. There's no commercial growers even growing yet. So that's kind of why I felt like it would be a good time to get up and started trying to help people grow in their own, because you can legally possess it in Missouri right now if you have a card. Cops won't take it away from you. You can show them your card. You can show them your quantity as long as you're within range. There's a thing going on like a lot of other states, immaculate conception, they're calling it, basically. Sure. They're not going to ask you where it came from, or they shouldn't, and it's as long as you're legal to possess it, you're legal to possess it. But there's no place to purchase it. So I figured, hey, let's all get started growing, because it's not really going to be until early summer of 2020 before the dispensaries open. I imagine they'll quickly run out too. So
Sure,
see
sure.
how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, if they haven't even licensed any at this point in time, even if they get licenses out on January 1st.
They're figuring, no, they got to have them out by December 30th.
Okay.
And they have been being good about getting things done a little bit early. So, best case scenario, just before Christmas, right after Christmas, everybody will start getting their Christmas presents or sacks of coal, because there's somewhere around 2,000 something applications out there for about 300, 600 something licenses. I'm not really sure. It's right around there.
Yep.
So, you got yourself like a 10, 15, 20% chance of getting licensed if you applied for one.
Those aren't the worst odds in the world. There's definitely been more competitive markets, but
oh yeah,
that's
absolutely
interesting. Well, I'm really glad that you're doing what you're doing right now, and hopefully you can have an impact on the new medical market and making them realize that they can grow better medicine in their home than they're ever going to be able to buy in a dispensary.
Yeah, exactly. And you got the control of it too.
Yep.
We're leaning towards living organic soil grows.
Awesome.
And it makes it easier on the, individual grower if all the nutrients are in the soil and all you have to do is water it.
Totally. So let's get into the grow setup a little bit. Why don't you tell me about your current setup? The size of the rooms, bring our listeners into your grow space and tell us what you can about it.
As a patient here in Missouri, you're 6, right? Like I said, but you're also allowed to combine up to 3 in a grow up. Right now, my fiance and I are doing a 12, 12, and 12, so to speak, but we're not really, we're just doing the 12 flowering plants, but we're not keeping, 12 mothers and, doing the 12 clones necessarily.
Yep.
It's just, getting a cycle going. Our room right now, we just got our mother plant cloning and seed room set up. So we just popped 12 seeds, Purple Punch, Gelato OG, and Bruce Banger Fast is what we just got started.
All right.
That little room, I like to keep it small. I like to keep my walls in tight. I like to control my environment. So my mother cloning room is right about 4.5 feet wide by 12 feet long. And then my flowering room is going to have 2 raised beds in it, with 2 4x4 raised beds with organic living soil. I like to do all my plants in one bed together so they can share the mycorrhizal fungi base and, communicate with each other, share nutrients. I like to do the water only. And, I'm looking to right about, you're allowed here in St. Louis or here in Missouri, you're allowed to, as a cultivator, you're allowed a 90-day supply. 30-day supply is 4 ounces. A 90-day supply, obviously, it's 12. So I'm looking to produce, at least my 90-day supply out of each one of those raised beds.
Yeah.
I try to not to go too far beyond that, because they don't really give you a clear direction on what you're supposed to do with your extra here. So
give it away, give it away.
Well, no, that's not, gifting's not allowed here.
Gifting is not allowed?
No, gifting is not allowed. Sharing is not allowed. When they first put out the draft set of rules, they actually said that if you grew more than your allotted amount, you were supposed to take it to the dispensary and have it destroyed.
Oh, that's such bullshit. Like
we all
sharing is
laughed
caring.
about that and complained. No, they were serious.
I mean, sharing is like the crux of the cannabis industry.
I know.
Like that's how this whole thing got started.
Yeah, we've got a really good, set of laws here as far as the medical cannabis industry starting up here. That one they really fell apart on.
That's so wild.
Yeah,
so wild.
Yeah, it's like if you produce too much, basically they're just like it's your problem. They didn't give you a distinct set of rules necessarily, but yeah, originally it was kind of funny. Like It was like, hey, produce too much, You got to call this number, get you a special sack, put it in that sack, tell them that you're traveling with it, take it to the dispensary, hand it over, and they'll destroy it.
Oh, I'm sure they'll destroy it, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But there's no dispensary set up.
Right.
So what are you supposed to do until then? Like just hold on to it?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That leaves you like a 6-month, 8-month window of growing your own cannabis.
Yeah, right. I didn't really thought about that part. Well, like I said, that was taken away. They just, as the rules are now, or the law is now, it just states that you're allowed your 6 flowering plants and you're allowed this amount, your 90-day supply.
Wow.
And then they just kind of left a foggy gray area over here, like, oh, what if I produce too much?
Man.
Like,
that's just, regular listeners to the show will know that I occasionally will go off about the different state laws and how every state, seemingly doesn't give a shit what the other states have done before them that have been successful. They just get, 50 people in a room and think that this is the way that their state is going to run. So, let's make this a law, even though this didn't work in other states or nobody's ever tried this before, but we're going to do it. It's just mind-boggling to me that
dispensaries would be open. If patients could just sell to dispensaries, first off, I wouldn't have time to talk to you right now because I'd be helping so many people get started up with their grow-ups because
Right.
they would know that they could make money off of it.
Totally.
And dispensaries would be open. People would be benefiting.
Right.
But no.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
No. Let's wait until this one can charge their $10,000 and that one can get their fee and the other one can come and inspect and let's wait till all that.
So I had a couple more questions about your room, Robert. What type of lights are you running? What's your environmental controls look like? Any air circulation or air scrubbers, that type of thing?
I like right now I'm not completely set up, but yes, kind LEDs
Awesome.
is what I like. Probably would like to go with Fluence better, but they won't give me a deal. I can get a deal with Kind LED. I've got not contract. Got an account with them. I can get a little bit off. I can sell their lights for the same price they sell them.
Okay.
But Fluence is like, hey, get in line. So
yeah, they're very expensive lights too.
As far as circulation in my flowering room, I do a closed room.
Okay.
The plants produce enough oxygen to feed the roots, and I feed them CO2.
Okay.
And I don't see any need to, circulate that at all. But as far as, in my mother room, I do a little circulation because I don't feed them CO2. So I, like to just give them, because who needs 6 mother plants blowing up out of control with CO2?
Sure.
That doesn't make any sense. I'd like to keep them, on an 18-6 and growing as slow as possible. So if I got 6 mother plants and all I need is 20 or so clippings every month, every couple months.
Yeah, that's tough. How do you supplement with CO2? Do you have the bags? Is it a tank? Or do you have a CO2 burner?
I used to do a burner in a bigger operation, but in a 12 by 13 room, I'm just doing the CO2 tanks with the, the rain drip tubes on the ceiling.
Yep, totally. That's how I rolled as well.
And especially when you're keeping it tight and not, there's no, this latest room that I built is super airtight. Your ears pop when you close the door. So when you're keeping it tight, there's very little leakage or next to no leakage of the CO2. So I'm using it all while it's in there.
Cool. So when you're helping a new grower get established, what is the 1 or 2 things that you tell them to look after when it comes to overall plant health? What's the most impactful things that they need to be paying attention to?
I guess we're just talking about it. Honestly, environment, that's the number one. I tell everybody, establish your environment before you even think about starting. Why pop seeds if you've got a room that's 80 degrees and 65% humidity and you have no control over it? Tomorrow it could chill down. The next day it could heat up. Establishing the environment before you get started, in my book, is number one.
I like that. Making sure that, your lights aren't causing your room to spike up to 100, or when your lights are off, it doesn't drop down to 60 degrees before you even put plants in there.
Right. Exactly. I mean, sounds like if you can maintain one constant temperature all the time, that's best. Some people say you wanted to drop at night, well then, then you got dew happening possibly. I like a constant temperature, and that's what I tell people before we get established here, before we do this, let's establish your environment.
So what's your ideal temperature and humidity to be growing and setting your rooms up at?
In flower,
yeah,
I like, with LEDs above 84, it's, imperative to, the LEDs do not heat the surface of the leaf like the sun or high pressure sodium would do.
Right.
So they're not going to do their photosynthesis if they're not at least 84 degrees. I like to be like right about 87.
Okay.
Give them a little bit more, make them, suck up that CO2, make them respirate.
Straight up tropical in your rooms. In other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like, full flower, dude. I'd like to be 42 to 45% humidity too. Like you want them to open up that stomata and suck in all that CO2 they can and respirate and pull up nutrients and keep that dehumidifier pumping and dump that water right back into the feed tank.
Yeah, I tell you, the thing that I miss about growing the absolute most is the temperate conditions that I was always able to attain, that even in, the middle of a snowstorm and it's 0 degrees outside, I had the most tropical weather conditions, attainable. Right. I definitely didn't ever experience seasonal depression disorder or whatever it's called there. SAD, seasonal affective depression, something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's always 80 degrees and sunny whenever you need it to be.
Right. Like, in my popping seeds right now, I'm holding it like 73 degrees up top. I got my mat down at 78 degrees, and then my humidity's sitting right at about 60%, and popped about as fast as they can.
Sounds like you got it dialed in pretty well.
I enjoy doing that part. I get pretty anal about it, actually. It'll drive my fiance nuts. She's like, "Are you going down there again?" I'm like, "I'm going to look." Go and look.
Do you have any remote monitoring software set up? Any room monitors that go to your phone or anything?
I should, because it would save me a lot of steps.
Yep.
There's these cameras. I was looking at one the other day. It's $25, and I'm like, I should have one pointing at the CO2 monitor and the temp humidity gauge, and I can have another one going across the room. And I just haven't gotten there.
Well, even better, man.
Even if I had it set up, I'd still be running down the street or whatever.
Sure. I mean, even better, there are lots of monitoring systems that can go right to your smartphone, and they have an app.
Oh yeah,
that you can set up alarms. So if your room hits 95, your phone starts blowing up, and then you can run to your room and assess the situation and pull the plug on, lights if you need to, whatever you got to do to get that temperature back down.
Yeah, I've seen these. I know what you're talking about. Yep. No, I have not gotten that far.
Cool.
Yeah.
No worries.
But I guess slightly behind the times, but also too, I'm so hands on.
We're all trying to
we're
all trying to get better, Robert. So when it comes to increasing the yield, you're limited to 6 plants per person. What can a grower do to increase the yield off a limited number of plants?
What I do here with my systems is I do a 2-layer trestle system where I have the first trestle set at a little below 14 inches. And I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you keep that plant height below 14 inches, so I spread them out. I got 6 and a 4x4. And I spread it out to where those 6 plants are completely, sea green on that first trestle before I flip it into flower. So you're looking to get at least 24 to 30 colas, all just, pointing straight up. And then I got a second set of trestle that I do that, for where the flowers can grow up into.
Cool. So just to make it clear for our audience, I think you mean trellis netting, right?
Trellis, I'm sorry. I do that.
We're going to go jump off the trestle into the water.
Yeah. I've done that before too. Used to ride in Jersey. Yeah. And we'd go over to, we'd go across the trestle into the, into the sand dunes.
Yeah.
So, that's where I'm stuck with that.
Where in Jersey were you from?
Forked River, Seaside Heights area.
Oh, really? Really? My family lives in Tom's River.
Tom's River. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's, Forked River, Tom's River, Seaside Heights.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew
Route
Forked River. It
37.
sounded familiar.
Yeah.
So you really go for a nice screen of green method, over each bed. And ultimately, I totally agree with you. That is the way to achieve the biggest yields off of limited plant counts.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how else you could do it.
No, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, unless you've got a 15-foot ceiling to work with, or you're doing outdoor. But also too, it's like even if you do outdoor and you got 6 plants outdoor here in Missouri, and when it comes time to harvest, let's say you're pulling 6 to 9 pounds off of those big giant. Well, now you're out of compliance. You're way past so that's what people are like. Well, I'll just do an outdoor, and I'll have plenty for the year. Well, they're not giving you a yearly allotment, and it's not like anybody's coming and inspecting your house and checking your jars and going through your drawers or anything. But still, if you want to stay in compliance, which I encourage everybody to do, well, don't do your one big giant outdoor grow. Unfortunately, let's do 4 or 5 little grows per the year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you too. I encourage everybody to stay within the laws of their particular state. We want to be good citizens in this program and good players, and we don't want to attract the wrong type of attention.
Yeah, let's do this proper and get through it, and jump through the little hoops for now, and
yep.
We'll make it. We've gotten this far. We can make it a little bit further.
Yep. If they've given us an inch, we want to, keep it at that inch. Then they'll give us a foot. Then they'll give us a mile eventually and get to that full-blown legalization where, like we were talking about before the show.
There's a lot of people you just don't want to freak out too.
Right.
There's a lot of resistance still here in Missouri. People are still scared. I mean, reefer madness is still real here. I don't know how it is. I don't know how it is where you're from, but people still believe in that. I still see stuff popping up on my Facebook every now and then from my Republican friends about be careful of this, and somebody died of that. And I'm just like, that never happened. And oh, come on, you guys.
Well, that's why I think these medical programs are really good for states to start off with and kind of, wet their feet with and prove to those reefer madness people that's not going to happen.
Beneficial.
Right.
Look at Uncle Tom. He's feeling better these days,
right.
And he's actually communicating and not sitting in the corner looking at everybody like he wants to kill them.
And it won't be long before everybody has, that second degree of connection where they know somebody who knows somebody that was, their lives were saved or their quality of life was truly impacted because of cannabis. And then it's only a matter of time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I had a guy come in the other day talking like he'd never thought about growing or smoking or anything, and he just happened to be somewhere, and somebody handed him, and he took a few tokes, and his back felt better. And he's like, wow. And then he just like, hey, let me try that out. And he's right now he's one or 2 time a week user.
Yep.
He went and got his medical card because he believed all the hype about how next thing you know he's gonna be wearing T-shades and have stains all over his pants, and now he's like, wait a minute. I just feel a little bit better. Cool.
Amazing. I love hearing those stories. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break here to thank our GrowPass partners. You can find all of them at mygrowpass.com, along with all of the program benefits, the different levels that we offer you. First up, we have GorillaGrowTent.com, the leader in tent manufacturing. They really take their tents to a whole new level. Let's see. So each Gorilla Grow tent comes with a free 1-foot height extension kit. And if that's not enough, they do offer a 2-foot extension kit. So that can get your grow tent from the standard 6 feet up to 7 feet, just using the free extension, and then up over 9 feet tall if you're really tall or would like to grow really tall plants within that grow tent. It's the tallest, thickest, and strongest grow tent on the market. Visit GorillaGrowTent.com and use code GROWCAST for free shipping. And if you really are ready to save some money, join mygrowpass.com to gain access to a 10% off code. They also give away one 4x8 grow tent to one lucky winner in our quarterly 5K giveaway, which will be next year on January 1st. We also have the amazing Dr. Zymes. You can use the code GROWCAST10 for 10% off, while our members save 25% off both of the Eliminator and the multi-purpose cleaner. So the amazing Dr. Zymes Eliminator is a revolutionary green solution that kills and eliminates soft-bodied insects, molds, and mildews on your indoor or outdoor gardens. Eliminator is a proprietary formula handcrafted to ensure quality control. Professional growers use it all year to ensure pest-free, mildew-free plants, while many growers have realized an increase in yields by not having to combat pests and mildews with toxic or oil-based products. And that's when they use as a preventative. They did not even see pests or mildews build up all the way to the day of harvest. Eliminator is OMRI listed and approved for organic gardening practices. You can use it year-round for pest-free, mildew-free garden. Again, check out drzymes.com. I think I said the amazing Dr. Zymes just because I love their name, the amazing Dr. Zymes. Visit drzymes, ZYMES.com, and use code GROWCAST10 to save 10% off your entire order, whether that's their highly sought-after Eliminator or the multi-purpose cleaner, which I've also heard some really great things about. Now, let's get you back to the learning with Robert Stewart from the Weed Squad. And welcome back, guys. I'm here with Robert Stewart from the Weed Squad out of St. Louis, Missouri. And Robert, let's talk about IPM in an indoor garden. What are your protocols and or go-to items to keep your garden and plants clean and healthy?
Number one, I keep my dogs out of the room.
Very good.
That's helpful. I learned that the hard way. Number two, I go with the living organic soil. I got beneficial nematodes in there, and I just honestly, I keep them clean. I try not to use any kind of pesticides of any sort. Honestly, this question I meant to research to discuss it with my fiance a little bit.
Sure.
Didn't have a chance to because This is kind of her end of the. Her end of our grow.
Okay.
She keeps an eye out for the bugs and whatnot. She's got the finer eyesight that she sees the little, she'll turn the leaf over and be like, oh, what is this going on here? But yeah, we just keep it clean.
Cool.
I guess it'd be the number one thing.
Yep.
We don't let build up. We don't throw clippings on the floor that don't get immediately picked up. Just keep our equipment wiped down, keep it maintained, keep our filters clean, and like I said, the beneficial nematodes in the soil definitely, anything that might be trying to lay their eggs down in the soil, so that those little, their larvae can eat at the roots. We just keep it clean, keep it down.
Cool. Would you enact any other protocols if you did have a problem? Would you bring in any other natural biocontrols, or do you have an all-natural spray or solution that you go for?
When every now and then we get the thrips pop up on us.
Yep.
We just kind of been dealing with thrips for many years now. The neem oil is what's been keeping that down for the longest time. Just kind of keep them off of it, and they don't like the taste of it. Is what I understand.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, we have not experienced a whole lot of bugs. Or the disease and pest and disease.
Yep.
In our time growing. What we have experienced, like I said, Morgan is taken care of.
Cool.
So I wish that she was here because that's kind of her end. When we have a P&D call, she goes.
Okay.
So I'm more the environmentals, and then we share the in between part of the actual growing and knowing that end of it.
Great teamwork. I like it.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately not that big on the P&D side.
Well, I would just encourage you from a personal standpoint to try a product like the amazing Dr. Zymes. They're a partner of ours here on the show. It's an all-natural, completely organic fungicide, pesticide, moldicide, if that's what you want to call it.
Well, I'm gonna get you to go ahead and send me that link.
Cool. Yeah, they're actually giving away some free samples right now, so
I'll shoot it right over to Morgan.
And try your best to get away from using neem oil. I won't get into too much of it. Everybody that's listened to the show has heard this before.
Yeah,
but
I've been hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of problems and lots of complications that can be caused from long-term overuse and especially in the consumption end of that. So just, grower to grower, I guess, be mindful of the long-term effects of using neem oil. It's great, to take care of the problems.
Right. You don't want to constantly use neem. And I threw out neem just as one that I can think of right now.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Cool.
I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Cool. Well, we're all here for grower education and helping the next grower get better. So, I like to use this.
I wish Morgan was here. I'd hand the phone to her right now and
right
let her take this part of the call.
Maybe we can get her on for a part 2.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. So, what type of character traits are the most important for a grower to cultivate in order to be the most successful cannabis gardener that they can be?
I got to think that that patience, I think, is number one. And patience and persistence. Nothing happens immediately. It's a plant. Don't sit there and watch it. Check in on it, make sure it's okay, go about your day. But yeah, the patience part, having a partner is a great thing. There's lots of times I don't go down into the room for a couple weeks because I trust that she's taking care of it and everything's cool. And she tells me everything's cool, and then I go down there after a couple weeks, and I'm like, nice, look at this.
Looks better than when I take care of it, right?
Yeah. Last time I was here, they were so tiny.
Right.
Oh, look at this. Oh, this is awesome, And persistence, and understand that there's going to be a failure. It's going to happen. Every endeavor. And it's not necessarily going to be your fault. Pump might fail and you're gone for 2 days.
Right.
Something silly like that. So, I don't know, patience and persistence, honestly, because you might start out your first grow, which is what we're trying to help people not to do, is, have their first grow be, big airy buds that are hermaphrodited or something, and that might happen to you. So figure out what you did wrong or what setting wasn't right and do it again. Just eventually you're going to produce yourself the best medicine that you can possibly get.
Patience and persistence are 2 of my favorites. You mentioned something, nothing happens immediately.
Well, I mean, nothing as far as, they're plants, they're growing.
Right, right.
You can't sit there, it's not going to do you or the plant any good for you to sit there and stare at it.
Yeah. It just made me think nothing good when you're growing cannabis plants happens immediately. But man, if you screw things up, that can happen.
Oh, yeah.
That can ruin your plans in an instant.
That can happen immediately for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, you mentioned a pump going down or, if you overfeed or underwater or something like that, that can, take its toll in a heartbeat. But you're right. When things are going well, nothing happens. That's why it takes, 3 or 4 months to grow this plant from clone all the way through harvest.
Start from seed and growing those up and then, taking clones off of those, flowering those out, deciding which ones are going to be your mothers. I mean, that's a 6-month operation damn near right there.
Yeah. Anyways. So before we wrap things up and get on with our bonus questions, which you can find at thehomegrownhelpers.com/bonus, do you have any last bits of wisdom that you'd like to share with every grower listening to you right now, Robert?
Shoot. Did I see this one coming? I guess not. I guess environment is your key, and that's really the way I feel about it. You can give them the proper light, but if you're lacking the nutrients and the temp and the humidity, then if you can give them proper temp and humidity, but your lights are lacking, your nutrient, temp, humidity, lights, nutrients. I mean, they all got to be combined just right. I mean. And you hear all the time people say, "Oh, it's a weed. It's a weed. You throw it down the ground, it'll grow." Yeah, but you can throw 100 seeds on the ground, and not necessarily every one of them is going to find the right spot and do the exact, or even have the right environment. Like if you want to grow some high quality cannabis, medicinal cannabis, you pamper it, and so you give it everything that it needs and you get those nice, big, giant, tight, compact colas covered in THC crystals.
Well, I think this interview is going to go down in the books as one that you echo a lot of what we say on the show on a regular basis, Robert.
Oh, really? I'm going to have to start listening then.
Maybe it's because we share the same name or whatever it is, but one of my favorite sayings here for our audience is this plant will give you everything that you put into it.
Yes, exactly.
So put love and caring and dedication into it, and it will return all of it back to you. But if you ignore it and, don't give it attention and really just expect it to grow like a weed, that's what it's going to grow like is a weed.
That's what you're going to get.
Yep. So very good.
Sure.
Very good. Well, thank you, Robert, so much for your time today. Really appreciated it. But we aren't going to let you go just yet. We have those other 5 questions that we're going to get to. But before we do, how can our audience learn more from you, find you out in the world, and connect with you if they'd like to?
You can email me if you like, robert@theweedsquad.com. We also have a website, theweedsquad.com. We're on Facebook, at the Weed Squad LLC. I think you can also just search the Weed Squad. I don't know. It's setting up all this social media stuff. It takes a minute for them to start talking to each other, but
sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much our contact information. Or we're at 314-802-6226. Open from Wednesday through Thursdays, 12 to 7. Pretty decent hippie hours, except I got to work weekends. So, yeah, that's who we are.
Did you just say Wednesday through Thursday, or?
I meant Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay. I'm like, those are amazing hours. I mean, rough schedule, Robert.
Wednesday through Sundays.
Right on. All right. So thank you again, Robert, for your time today. And audience, if you liked what you heard, don't forget we have all of that bonus content from Robert from the Weed Squad and all of our other guests available at thehomegrownhelpers.com/bonus. And you can download the next 5 questions that we're going to keep him around for. If you like this growing content, make sure that you're already listening to our parent podcast, Growcast Podcast. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts or at growcastpodcast.com. Don't forget that we also have our membership program, mygrowpass.com. You can check that out. Check out all the benefits. The partners that you heard give you exclusive discounts. We do a monthly AMA with all of the hosts and guests from Growcast. We just gave away $5,000 worth of grow gear at the beginning of October. We also have an amazing resource section where we just launched a printable grow journal. Basically gives you all of your inputs and a daily check-in with your plants and kind of some tips. And we just give that to our members as, one of the most important resources that we have out there. So head on over to mygrowpass.com and check that out. So for Rob and Robert from the Weed Squad, thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.